is Tina Harder. I'm an MK. I grew up in Moscow, Russia, and I lived there for the first 18 years of my life. I just can't imagine what my life would be like without Russia, and it has become such a significant part of who I am, and it is who I am. There is no Tina without Russia. I can't say that I'm just Russian, and I can't say that I'm American, but I honestly would say that I'm both, because they both have shaped me to become who I am now. I had an opportunity to travel. I had an opportunity to be involved in lots of different things. I was in a different culture for every day of my life. Growing up in Russia, I spoke a different language. I practiced things that I thought were normal, and I came to the States and realized, whoa, that is not normal, you know, and even just little things too. I remember going in as a freshman in college, and everybody talking about their prom and their high school track meets. I didn't have track at my school, or different things like that that were like so normal to them, or even just normal pop culture, just in the car and on the radio, and songs come up and everybody starts dancing, and I'm pretending to dance along too, because I don't want to be the one that everybody's like, oh, the weird MK that doesn't know what's going on. And I remember just my first year of college, my mind would just be so exhausted, because I was just on all the time trying to show, because I look like I'm an American, I look like I should be up to par with all the, you know, the like cultural cues, but I totally wasn't. I first became involved with MK2MK, I think it was in 6th grade, and that conference really marked a time in my life where I really realized that there were kids like me all around the world. That's the coolest thing about MK2MK, is that it fosters community, and it's so neat because through the conferences, through summer projects, these kids, even though they might not live in the same country as their peers, they develop these strong relationships that last throughout the years. For example, some of my two best friends, one grew up in Ukraine and one was born in France and then grew up in the States. But they are my best friends, and the reason that I met them was through MK2MK, and I've never actually lived in the same place as them. MK2MK has such a unique ministry in the sense that it's this discipleship process where it's these younger MKs that are being poured into, who then get older and pour into younger MKs, who then can become interns and staff, and so it's this constant cycle of discipleship that's going on. I think the first time that I realized that I really wanted to do the internship was my first mission trip to Uganda in 2007 when I was 15, because of the impact the leaders had on me. And every time that just had interaction with them and everything, it just was so special to me, because it was these college students who normally, you know, I wouldn't have a lot of interaction with them, but they were so intentional to want to know about my life. And they just wanted to walk through life with me. They wanted to hear my story as a 15 and 16-year-old, and who wants to hear your story at that point in your life? And they just were so passionate about meeting me where I was at. And it was so neat because their stories were so similar to mine. I wanted to be able to have that opportunity to impact other MKs' lives that much, because I saw how much of a difference it made in my life, and I realized that I could make just as much of a difference in someone else's life if I had the opportunity to do the internship. Now, as a person who helps lead in conferences and summer projects, it's so neat with the relationships that I can develop with students, because even though I might not see them for a year or two at a time, those relationships stay strong, and those times that I invest in them for maybe it's only 3 days, or maybe it's a week, or sometimes it's a month, they really develop into something that is more than just a passing friendship. For example, Emma Beyer We grew up together in Moscow. She's probably 10 years younger than me. I was her leader in Slovenia. She was in my small group. We were just close, and we bonded, and it was so great. And she was getting ready to make a transition for furlough back in the States, and I had done that before, and I shared experiences that I had as I was on furlough in the States my 7th grade year. And it's so fun, even though the last time I saw her was probably a year ago, we still can connect and pick up wherever we left off, and that's just something that's unique of MK2MK relationships. I would say one of the biggest things that I have grown to learn just as a participant in MK2MK and now as even a leader of MK2MK is just how it's so important for MKs and staff kids to realize that God doesn't just call your parents to the ministry, but God calls the whole family. And that was a journey for me to understand and to find out, but it has been just revolutionary in my life, and I really feel like because of me realizing that as a high school, junior high student, it really impacted my time in Moscow. MK2MK is something that I definitely still want to be involved with, and I'm passionate about still being involved with, just because I feel like the Lord has blessed me with a great experiences in MK, and largely the reason is that He has put people like through MK2MK into my life that have walked through the transitions of being an MK and help me see truth and guide me to follow the Lord in that. And so I feel like I just want to give back, and I want to pour back, and I want to help in the same way, because it has influenced my life in such a huge way that it only makes sense to be able to give back in the same way. I don't know exactly what my life is going to look like as I get ready for graduation, but I know that I do want to be in ministry. I also think that no matter what I do, the things that I've learned through MK2MK are going to be with me forever and are going to be a huge part of whatever ministry the Lord leads me to.